a company that focuses supporting consumers in the adoption of electric vehicles and other clean technologies. And I'm based in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Catherine, would you like to go next?
Absolutely. Catherine Trounston, Chair of the Better New Zealand Trust, which I'm actually based in Auckland, which is why I was talking to Emma about her coming in. But the Trust has trustees all the way around the country, and we're just, dedicated to encouraging conversations and education to increase the rate of EV uptake, which of course we're kicking Australia out of the park with our current. We're at over 30,000 EVs currently as at the end of September.
Yes, very impressive. Very impressive. We do find New Zealand to be very impressive in this way. Mary, would you like to go next?
Oh yeah, thank you, Elliot. And I'm Mary Hendricks, and for those who know me, apologies for the red hair. It's like it was homegrown, and it'll wash out gradually. So it's a bit like a pillar box at the moment. But yeah, I've been working in renewable energy and battery storage for a long time, but I'm now doing more voluntary work. I volunteer with the Australian Institute of Energy, and we just ran an EV workshop with them and with the EV Council Supportive. And I'm also working with Rotary to try and spread the awareness of electric vehicles across the more consumers and more generally. And we're running an EV workshop soon in about 3 weeks on the 16th of 4 weeks, perhaps 16th of November. We'll be doing a big EV workshop as well there with a few speakers, and we'll be getting Alexandra's coming into that one. So I'm basically an activist. I'm very supportive of electric vehicles, have been for a long time, and I work for my own company. So that's
wonderful. Thanks, Mary. Alex, you.
Me next. Hey everyone, I'm Alex. I work at the Electric Vehicle Council as a policy manager. I've been supporting Alina do some of the admin and ad hoc activities needed to keep web functioning. And yeah, that's it from me.
Yeah, look, Alex has been amazing. All of the vice chairs who we'll introduce shortly have been fantastic, but Alex especially has been really helpful to me in the last even hour. So thank you, Alex. Carola, also a vice chair. Would you like to go next?
Yes. Hi, everyone. So yeah, I'm Carola. I'm the CEO and founder of Everty, one of the leading software platforms for EV charging. And yeah, I'm really excited about this group and about engaging more with all the wonderful women of EVs, especially locally on a state level, but also nationally. And yeah, happy to hear more from all of you.
Thanks, Carola.
Can I just say quickly, Alina, I'm getting some emails saying that people can't get into the meeting.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yes, I couldn't before.
You couldn't before?
No, and it said the host has another meeting. But the link that you just sent before, Alexandra, that worked.
Oh, that one works? Okay. So maybe some more people will be coming through.
Maybe, so I think we had some kind of a link issue, did we? Oh, that's embarrassing. I've just stopped sharing so that I can attend to that. But why don't you let me have a quick look at that while we continue intros? And Alex, are you able to flick the link that you posted just to whomever has sent you an email?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Awesome. Terrific. Well, thank you so much for pointing that out. Caroline, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi everybody. So I'm a freelance reporter. So I did work for National and Bloomberg for many years, but now I've been reporting on fleet and automotive related industries for probably the last 5-6 years. Absolutely love it. So exciting to be in the transport area. My real interest though is anything related to sustainability. And so I'd really like to take all my reporting in that direction. I'm currently studying a certificate course in the circular economy, which is just very exciting. And I'm currently overlooking Bondi Beach, where I've been stuck for the entire lockdown. And but normally I would live in a very remote, isolated, lonely house in the Hunter Valley. That's it.
Sounds like you've done a lot, and we're really glad to have you here. So thank you so much. Katie, would you
Also,
like?
sorry, I posted something on LinkedIn today. I did a little report on the launch, and if you want to check that out later.
I've actually just posted that in the LinkedIn group as well, Caroline. So it's there for anyone that wants to check it out.
Cool.
Terrific. Katie, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Katie. I am from New Zealand with a very, very subtle accent. That's not subtle at all. But I've been over here in Australia for about 10 years now, working in cybersecurity and critical infrastructure there. So I've predominantly been working with sort of the big four banks and superannuation and energy companies. About a year ago, with a friend, we started Linga Network. That's a regional only electric charging network. So we're sort of pottering along with that. So I'm COO over there and very happy to be a part of this group.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Katie. And guys, we just have a short amount of time today. So if it's okay with you, I'm just going to ask everyone else to just introduce themselves and where they work for and what state they're in. And we'll just try and get through everyone quickly before we kick off into the agenda. So Laura, would you like to go next?
Yep, now that I'm unmuted. Yes, Laura Jones, Tasmania. I work at the Australian National University on electric vehicle-to-grid project. That's me.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Michaela, would you like to go next?
Yes. Hi, I'm Michaela. I'm currently based in Perth and I'm a consultant at Endeavour Environmental, and part of the work that I do is in EVs.
Beautiful. Thank you. Emma?
Hi everyone, my name is Emma Watsky-Coonan. I'm based in Sydney. I work for AGL Energy and support their future business and distributed energy teams, and we do a number of projects in EV, such as we've got a trial with Arena on smart charging at the moment. We've got subscription in EV products and a number of other initiatives that are being incubated. So that's me. Thanks
Fantastic.
everyone. Looking forward to working with you all.
Likewise. Nadine, would you like to go next?
Hi there, I'm Nadine Armstrong. I'm based in Melbourne, Victoria. I'm the consumer editor for car sales, but I also sit on the VACC's Women in Automotive Steering Committee. So that's a group, not dissimilar to this, that tries to encourage women in general to join the automotive industry. And so that's from, dealerships to trades to in every capacity. So yeah, this group is quite close to my heart as well.
Wonderful. Great to have you along. And last but not least, Alex Bromley, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alex Bromley. I currently work for Harley Davidson, and last year we launched our first electric motorcycle, the Livewire. But in 2 weeks, I'm actually moving to an EV motorcycle startup called Savage Motorcycles. So I'm based in New South Wales.
Very cool. Bring on more e-mobility options. That sounds great. Thanks everyone for introducing yourselves, and apologies again for anyone who had difficulty with the Zoom link. I'm not sure what happened, but we will tidy that up for next time. What we'll do now is just go through a couple of slides to introduce what we're looking to achieve with WEV in the next couple of months, and also introduce you to our vice chair. So just give me a moment to share my screen again, and we can get started. Can everyone see? Yeah, terrific. Okay, awesome. So for those of you who might not be aware, I'll just remind you that we have kicked off the Australia-New Zealand chapter of Women of Electric Vehicles. Now, Women of Electric Vehicles is an organization that originated in the US. It has chapters in Canada and now in Australia and New Zealand. So the mission of WEV is to empower, elevate, educate, inspire, and celebrate women. And I assume that after a few more meetings, we will all be able to readily say that, have it roll off our tongue. I still struggle. But the purpose of the organization is to unite professional women working in the sector. So that's a high level. What that means for us locally here is up to us to decide. Now, how WEV is normally run in the US is that there are chapters in particular cities. They're usually headed up by an individual or a couple of individuals who convene meetings and catch-ups over coffees or drinks, usually like little side catch-ups from events. We because of COVID, have been very limited in this regard, obviously. So when I liaised with the US organization, I suggested that we combine all of the individual states into sort of one head organization and branch off from there as appropriate. So far that's worked pretty well. So we have 85 people who have signed up for WEV in some capacity, and that membership is growing. So we're getting more and more members added every week still, despite not doing a whole lot of marketing. So that's exciting. And I think as the organization grows and develops, we will begin to contemplate how to formalize our processes and I guess admin. So we're developing some of those systems now, but bear with us as we continue to formalize that. One of the aspects of the organization that we have just recently formalized and that we're beginning to announce through our participation in the LinkedIn group is the vice chair. So what I did was I asked the membership who would be interested in heading up a capital city-based chapter, and a number of or individuals have raised their hands. And so I'd like to introduce some of them to you now. I'll just do that one for now. So I myself am heading up Brisbane, but also the national lead for both countries for the time being, and liaising with the US. These slides will be available or are already available on LinkedIn, so I won't read through them for you. My number one offsider and helper is Alex Kelly, who is our national vice chair and also representative from the Electric Vehicle Council. So Alex is available in Sydney as well for anyone catching up there. But if you don't catch up with Alex, you can also catch up with Corolla, who is our Sydney vice chair specifically. So the purpose of these roles, again, is to provide a face to the organization locally and facilitate local catch-ups. So anytime there's an event in Sydney, I expect Corolla to be organizing drinks of some kind or whatever might suit. Also a really good way to link with those of you who are working on geography-specific projects, where you're looking to connect in individuals working in the EV sector in particular cities. I think this is another avenue to support that. So supporting us in Perth is Michaela Armanova, who you would have just met a moment ago. So Michaela's also been incredibly active in the administration of WEV, and I'm really thankful to have her along. Liz, who couldn't be here today because she is on leave, is looking after Wellington over in New Zealand. So Liz and I have worked together a number of times in the past, and she's an incredible EV advocate, having previously worked for government organizations in New Zealand. So if you don't know Liz and you're in Wellington, now's the chance. Katie, who previously introduced herself on behalf of Linga, is our Melbourne vice chair. So Katie is a real self-starter in the EV sector, and we really look forward to what activities she can bring into Melbourne. Laura, who's also introduced herself earlier, is in Hobart, working for ANU and very keen to connect people around electric vehicles and those kinds of activities. So please reach out to Laura if you're in Hobart and you would like to get together. And last but certainly not least is Yvette in Adelaide. So Yvette has worked previously for the government and is very passionate about e-mobility. So Yvette's a fantastic resource for anyone in South Australia. Now, you might have noticed a couple of gaps. So we haven't had anyone raise their hand yet for Auckland, as well as in the Northern Territory or Canberra. So if there are cities or other cities that you feel deserve representation, obviously the floor is open. So reach out anytime and we can have a conversation about how to continue to build out the leadership of the organization. The purpose of the vice chairs, apart from convening members locally, is to support the administration of the group and directives around how we do business. So at the moment, we are simply an association seeking to support the electric vehicles sector with no financial agenda. But over time that could change depending on the interest of the group. So it's good for us to continue to talk about where would our efforts be most useful in promoting both Women Plus and e-mobility. In terms of what we seek to do, the team have come up with an initial project, and I'd like to share that here today for the first time. So we have put our heads together and come up with what we think is a really cool and exciting way to promote women working in this sector in Australia and New Zealand. And without further ado, I'd like to announce that we will be putting together a Women of Electric Vehicles Speakers Guide. So the purpose of this document, similar to ones you've seen in other industry sectors, is to highlight members of WEV who are expert in their own aspects of the agenda and keen to speak on those topics. We've all seen perhaps some challenges around diversity in panels and other public events going forward. And so this guide will highlight a diverse offering of experts in the e-mobility sector from our group. So we are hoping to launch the guide in early 22. And that we think that will set us up nicely for events to come in the new year, hopefully many of which will be able to be attended in person in some capacity, but obviously web-based ones are fine as well. So in terms of the objectives of this document, it will be to highlight WEV's membership as well as speakers in our local sector, to increase gender diversity on panels and other events, to strengthen our ties with overseas. So obviously linking the New Zealand and Australian speakers will allow for some crossing over of those experiences and getting to talk about what we've done in respective geographies. We're also hoping to work more closely with the US on this one. So we haven't yet formalized that arrangement, but that will be the next objective for me, is to see how we can get this overseas. Because how cool is it to talk overseas? And we might even be able to leave the islands to do that. So that'd be cool. We also want to put WEV as an organization in Australia and New Zealand on the map. So although we are small and unfunded, we do have a purpose, and we want to make sure that that's known. And we think that this activity will help elaborate that. And lastly, we have the support of the Electric Vehicle Council, which is fantastic. In fact, they have raised their hands and volunteered to host the speaker's guide on their website initially. We have begun discussions with Drive Electric in New Zealand for the sake of similar arrangements. So we want to make this document pervasive amongst the existing infrastructure that exists for organizations. And as I mentioned, I'll be talking to the US about doing the same. If anyone has any suggestions for organizations that could promote this document when it's ready and also post it on their website or in newsletters, please let us know, because we'll be compiling a list of resources for promotion ready. I have a couple more admin things to get through around the speaker's guide, but does anyone have any questions or comments quickly around just the idea or the concept?
Well, I'd certainly be happy to put it on the website for the Better New Zealand Trust. We have a large informational area, and that kind of guide would be perfect. So I would definitely host it.
Fantastic. We would be so grateful to the Better New Zealand Trust to host us. That sounds great. Thank you, Catherine.
Pleasure.
Anyone else with comments or questions? Okay, cool. I'll kick on to the admin, and obviously you'll have a chance later. This is not the end of the questions, our opportunity for questions. So moving on to key dates and objectives in terms of how we're piecing out this project is today we are opening expressions of interest for the speaker guide. Now, we aren't going to have a selection process. This is not the sort of thing where we're evaluating you against one another. Everyone's welcome to be part of the speaker guide. It's just a matter of you first registering your interest, and then us working through some of the more detailed steps later. So if you're at all interested, follow the link. It'll be provided in a moment, and we'll share that, of course, through our normal channels. But that starts today. The next step is we have organized personal elevator pitch workshops or executive bio creation workshops with an expert who I'll brief in a moment. So those are currently scheduled for Friday, the 5th of November and Thursday, the 11th of November. I believe the first one's at 1 p.m. Australian Daylight Savings Time, and the second is at 2 p.m. Come back to that in a moment. We'll collect your final details once you've done your bio and you're really happy with how you present in a strong and impactful way. We'll ask for your photo. We'll get a couple of extra details off you. And the deadline for that is just a couple of weeks after that bio workshop, just to keep things moving before everyone goes Christmas shopping mentally. And then we will work in the background as a group to compile that information presented beautifully so that it can be widely shared and resourced for conferences leading into 2022. So that'll take us, we think, over the Christmas period to zhuzh it up. And then we plan to publish and disseminate it sometime in January, late January, early February. That will be contingent upon how things shake out over Christmas, but we haven't yet prepared ourselves to nail a date, just wanting to target that sort of late Jan, early Feb timeline, as I said, in anticipation of planning for the year ahead. In terms of more particular details, so I mentioned the executive bio workshop. So a close friend and collaborator of mine, Karen Bonanno, does these seminars quite regularly for professionals. So the purpose of the workshop is to help you craft sort of 2 to 5 sentences about you professionally and do so in a very impactful way. And we think that's the perfect length for a bio on the speaker's guide, as well as to give you an opportunity to use that verbiage to speak about yourself in introductions. You know, sometimes you're asked to provide a bio before you present, or also to speak about who you are, as we've all just done. You know, so if you feel like that aspect of your life could use a little bit of spicing up, this is the perfect opportunity to do that for yourselves, as well as to provide the content for the speaker's guide. So unfortunately, the workshop's not free, but we have negotiated a discount for web members. So we'll be hosting that over 2 different dates. The cost is $15 Australian. You pay the funds directly to Karen, so we don't take a clip of the ticket or anything. It's just a matter of getting her to come and run the workshops for us. They're about 45 minutes long, and they have been really useful. I've worked with Karen myself to work on my biography, so I've found her to be very helpful. She comes highly rated. So have a think about if that interests you, and I think you'll be really impressed with the outcome. So in terms of the speaker's guide, this is the link for our registration page. So you can reference that here. Again, we'll share it in all of the relevant channels, meaning we'll send out an email with the details of today's meeting. We'll post it in the LinkedIn group, and we may also do a social media share. We haven't discussed that yet, but we'll have a think about that one. So through that URL, you can just register your interest in being in the speaker's guide. That doesn't commit you yet. So you can just have a think about whether you like to do that and consider yourself for the workshops. You nominate the date, and then we're asking for one other thing, which is a little bit unusual, and that is, I was looking, I admit I didn't scrape the internet, but I looked, you know, at some of the sort of more common stock photo images for like some photos of women speaking. I couldn't find any. It's like always dudes. And so I think we need to change that. So one of the other things we're asking for, and this is a picture of me actually from the weekend, is for you to submit, if you have any that you're comfortable with sharing, photos of yourself talking publicly. And it can be about EVs or it can be about something else. But what we would like to do is create a repository of photos of women speaking. We might use these later. We'll ask for your permission more formally later if we're going to use them. But the purpose is just for us to start promoting more of this kind of activity. So we're going to be wrapping up soon. Gotcha. So if you're able to have a look through your portfolio of images, professional or otherwise, and you'd like to share your photo, please email it to us there. That email address is one that we've recently established for the organization. That's the central email address. You would have gotten an invite for today and where you'll get communications going forward. So you can send it there, or also you can upload it on the previous form where you register your interest for the speaker's guide. So more photos of women, powerful women speaking in powerful places, please. Terrific. And yes, by the way, that was me on Saturday. I did a TEDx talk. It was so fun. Very scary. Super cool. I'll send the link around when it's ready. But yeah, let's do more of it. So now that I've finished the admin on that, any questions about us prepping for the speakers? No. If you think you might.
The other thing I'd say,
Alex, go.
Sorry, the only other thing I'd say about the speaker's guide is on the EVC website, we'll be hosting it using your LinkedIn profiles. So it will require a little bit of, whether you want to include web on your LinkedIn profile, but that will be the link from the EVC website, similar to what we do for our board and team members.
Cool. Any other comments or questions? No? Great, terrific. Anyone already decided they are a yes for the speaker's guide and they're going to go ahead right now and register their interest? Any hands? Yes?
Yep.
Good. That's what I like to see. Lots of hands. Terrific. So excited. Thanks, everyone. Well, look, that's us just about wrapping. So I've just popped up here this final slide as a reminder for if you want to get in touch with the organization, if you have any comments, questions, thoughts, or suggestions around what WEV should be looking after. Our focus for the balance of the year is to get the speakers guide up and out, but we will be convening the vice chair group again to talk about forward planning for 2022, and we will look to you for inspiration and input into how we direct the organization going forward. So we've got some ideas, of course, but if you have any public events where you think we might be able to showcase breakfasts or workshops or anything along those lines, let us know. If there's anyone in your network who you think would be able to provide a service or an offering to WEV members, like Karen, that would be of interest to the group, let us know. And any other ideas are more than welcome. You can use that email address. You can drop a comment in the LinkedIn group, or of course, you can reach out to myself or any of the vice chairs individually, especially if you have a geography specific suggestion. And without further ado, I love ending meetings on time. So 11:31 is not too bad. Thanks, guys. If there's nothing else, then we'll see you next time, and look for an email from us with a quick summary about today, the link to signing up for the speaker guide, which I'll just quickly drop in the comments now in case you want to get straight onto that. I encourage you to do so.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Looking
Nice
forward
to
to
see
seeing
you all.
again soon.
Bye.
Bye.